Welcome to the Business and Bud Show. You know it's time. Start thinking like a winner when you get online. Streaming audio and video to get you primed for a future of success, a life you design. Business and Buds is the online show for people who want to learn about creating a thriving business and a thriving network. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Business and Buds Show. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It is the Business and Buds Show. I am Pat Hilton. With me is Michael Bryant. We are in the zone today talking about reflection and perspective when it comes to life, business, communication, relationships, growth, and all things that have to do with the Business and Buds core values. What are our core values? Kick ass and take names?
I would say that my core values are anytime that I'm interacting with someone, I try to give them more than they give me. That it's pretty simple. Like, so if someone purchases CBD from me for $100 for, you know, a 500 milligram thing, which I'm not the cheapest on the market, but if someone purchases, you know, 500 milligrams for $100 from me and they pay full price for it, I'm hoping that that $100 that they spent, they feel like they got $200, $300, $400, $500 in value, whether that's they think clearer, they sleep better, they eliminated arthritic problem that has been plaguing them, or whatever it may be. Everyone's perception of value is different. So for me, if I could get like one good night of sleep without my two little kids waking me up, I would pay $500 a night to not fucking wake up in the middle of the night 3 times a night. Right. Because dude, I would perform that much better every day if I didn't have that sort of scenario. Now, time whenever my kids wake up and I get to, you know, put them back better, you know. But in the same breath, I would absolutely, my wife brought up the idea of doing IFV or IVF or whatever the fuck it's called and having twin girls. And I was like, if we're having twin girls, number one, we have to either build a new house or build a bigger addition than the one that we're already planning on building. And I have, like, I'm speechless at that thought because I'm like, I'm comfortable with having 2 boys and I'm done. But if it makes my wife happy to have more, you know, of course I would love to be a dad to 2 little girls. Like, that would be absolutely fucking amazing. But I'm just like, I'm good where I'm at too. So, like, I don't want to sleep less as I get older. I want to have better quality sleep and then perform better in all areas of my life every day. So it's just like perspective value on what you are trying to achieve is so different for every single person. Like, it is. It's not even close. Like, I am not the cheapest. Not the cheapest development that you can buy, and I won't ever be. However, I deliver results that are going to get you to where you need to be, and you're not going to like the things that I say to you sometimes. So if I tell you that something sucks, it's not because I'm being mean about something. It's because I've already done it. I've already spent $100K learning this fucking lesson, or I've already spent $15,000. I'm trying to get you over that hurdle without you needing to spend that fucking money too.
Well, and that's kind of what we were talking about even before we came on, which kind of brought up our subject for today, which was perspective. Some things that, and we've talked about a lot of stuff on this show that I never really talked about just because it kind of came up, how I felt one day or how I felt in one situation, or, you know, what I was telling you about earlier, you know, an old picture came up on Facebook. It was a Facebook memory, and like people started commenting on it. And then I start clicking around being the freaking, you know, clicker dicker that I am, and I'm looking at people that pissed me off in the past or hurt me in the past. And I'm like, all that stuff hits you. And you're like, oh man, I really lost out on this or that, or lost this friendship, or lost that, or this is gone forever now. Cause I'm like a artist. So everything turns into a freaking broken heart song when I see stuff like that. And I'm like, but you know what, dude? You didn't lose anything. You gained the opportunity to leave those feelings and those situations behind and push them to the side and open up this huge path of success that you trotted down. Playing big, huge business conferences in front of 10,000 people with no band support, no nothing. I went up there by myself and did that. And if I was still around those people, that would have never happened. If I was still around that crew back home, dicking around in Springfield, Missouri, partying, that never would have happened. I needed those things to fall through the holes to open up the pathway to be on these shows that I'm on now, to be in this moment that I'm in now, using all those talents to help people and to impact people and grow myself. So while I may have felt defeated in the moment when I saw those pictures or thought about those memories or the losses, quote unquote, really, I'm still winning, doing what I always said I was going to do, even back then. So therefore, those situations did not defeat me, and I am technically still undefeated.
Yeah, dude. I mean,
that shit didn't beat me, bro. So like, instead of saying, oh, I fucking lost and oh, blah, 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 blah. It's like, dude, no, you didn't lose shit. You gained everything. You did everything you said you were going to do. So I think that can be hard, especially when you're young. You don't know how to control your emotions and stuff. And sometimes they can overtake you. And, you know, when you look back, you're like, oh man, all that stuff happened for a reason. I got lucky that some of those things happened.
Oh yeah, no, I agree. I mean, for me, I've had a lot of unfortunate things happen in my life. I was 18. My mom got diagnosed with stage 4 brain cancer, was given a year to live. And it's fucking amazing. 12 years later, she's still here. It's like sheer fucking willpower for her to do it. But like, she lived long enough and was able to make herself have a different perspective. So whenever she was diagnosed with brain cancer, we started a foundation for kids with brain cancer because it gave her a bigger purpose than herself. She was like, and it's this challenging for me. Imagine how talented it is on a parent or the children themselves that are going through something in a similar fashion.
So give me that one more time. We had a little router. We had a little router click. So your mom got diagnosed with stage 4 brain cancer.
Brain cancer. Yeah.
And started a foundation. And then give me that part one more time. Because it gave her some more purpose. If she can help these kids and she can survive, she can show these kids the strength that they need, correct?
Correct. Yep.
Got it.
And so she did that. And then I got a girl pregnant at 20 or 21 and had a kid. And then
Big Mike.
And then, you know, through that, I learned a lot about myself because I got in a scenario where I got a girl pregnant who came from a very wealthy family. They had all the means. I had none of the means. And I felt powerless in court. And I was powerless in court. And I realized at that moment that I would never, ever feel powerless ever again. And that has been, for me, that has been like my whole why. I was trying to make sure that I establish or make my that whenever my son is able to see me and is able to come back, or whenever he turns 18, he's able to communicate with me, like, or I'm able to communicate with him rather without breaching the law. Like, I still put the same child support amount in a special account every single month. So that way, whenever he's 18, he knows that there wasn't a day that went by that I didn't not think about him. I still buy all of his birthday and Christmas gifts, and they're just stored. So, like, I'm respecting her wishes and the court's wishes. And whenever he's able to, you know, do whatever he's able to do, or whenever I'm able to contact him, whenever he's an adult, I'm able to show him that, like, I was a shithead. Yeah, your mom did have a right to think that I was a shitty human being. However, I have changed, and I'm willing to work 18 fucking years to get that level of respect. I'm okay with that. And it doesn't bother me so much anymore as it used to, because I now know that I have children of my own. I now know that, like, I've designed a life for my family that is crazy different than what I had envisioned. And it's, don't truly until you get put. And for me, whenever your back is against the wall is the time that, like, I love that spot. That's why I don't have more than 6 months savings ever. I fucking refuse. I can't do it. I have to spend it. Either I spend it on shit or I spend it on an investment. Now that I'm older, I spend it on investments. Whenever I was younger, I would just fucking, you know, wing it and spend it on shit and do whatever the fuck I wanted, and then just hope that things were going to come around again. It's taken me 12 years of entrepreneurship to get to the point where, like, it looks like you're an overnight success, and you're not. And anyone that thinks that they are is self-conflicted with their own core values. They just don't understand that, like, all of the failures that it took them earlier, they're not attributing that to their success today. The things that, like, harden you up a little bit are the things that, and I don't mean hard like in a fucking sexual way where, like, you got a hard dick. I mean, like, the things that, like, toughen up your skin are the fucking
Big Mike.
I'm just saying, like, the things that give you tough skin are the things that, like, actually make you go to this level. If you can overcome the things that you think are the most drastic, horrible things that you can think of happening to you. I was 25 and I'm still in litigation over it now, 5 years later, but I got fucked out of $3 million at 25. Contract signed, everything. Still fucked out of it.
It's never
I thought
good
at
day.
25, I was like, I am set, baby. Like, I am good to go. After taxes, I got like $1.6 million, $1.8 million or so. I invest that. I can live off of, you know, $80K a year and always have $1.6 million in the bank. That was where my head was at. Now I'm like, I can't even think for a second that living off $80K would be suitable for my lifestyle, because I don't spend like that anymore. I spend everything that I can out so I can either buy real estate, buy stock, buy Bitcoin, buy other cash flow producing assets that are going to benefit me later on down the road.
Right. Yeah, man. And wow. Yeah, it's a lot. It's heavy shit. And I think it's important for everyone to think about what their story is and where their journey's at. Cause dude, like I was saying, I mean, I saw some pictures that was just one example. And then I started looking for stuff. Cause once I started to make that like momentum and that perspective shift, I wanted to make that perspective shift obsessed with like other situations. So I started finding this and that and the other thing. And I was like, man, I remember this gig at that place. And man, I needed that $64 tip that guy gave me. I felt like a rock star that night. All these little things that happened as a result of what I considered a loss 13 years ago or something on Facebook. And I'm like looking at that picture and I'm like, and then, so that was like at the bottom. And then you start scrolling up through your memories and it's like 2008, 2009, 2010, 2011. And I'm like, holy fuck, 2014, 2015, you're playing in front of 10,000 people. The same room that 7 years ago, you know, some stupid fucking idiot girl told you were a loser. That'll never work. Or some group of hooligans, you know, in the middle of bumfuck Missouri were like, that ain't going to work. And it's like, the funny thing is you literally can go look at the documentation and see yourself working towards it and making it happen. That wasn't a loss, dude. Any of those things in between that came and went aren't losses. They're actually stacked up wins. It's literally years and years and years and years of wins that I was looking at. I just had to shift my perspective 1 degree and see it a different way. And the whole trajectory of how I looked at that changed.
Well, 100%. I mean, like the reality is if I didn't lose that deal where like I thought that like if they had paid, if they had done everything, I probably wouldn't be in e-com now.
Right.
So if that had happened, I would have been like, oh, I'm the shit. I'm 25. I probably would have blown all that fucking money anyways. I didn't have kids at the time. And I would have blown all that fucking money because whenever you get such a large sum of money, it's hard to respect your own core values sometimes. Like, I know this, and maybe this is just like a thing for myself. Like, whenever I was a drug addict, we talked about this on the phone the other day, just like bullshitting. I could always find $500 a day to buy drugs. No question. So I was
more of a $30 a day guy, but I get it. Oh yeah. See, that wasn't really my shit. That wasn't really my shit. Your face is frozen with your hands.
I would smoke and I would do coke. So, bro, I literally would love to do fucking blow and fucking. I would smoke weed to come down. I'd fucking do Xanax bars. I would do everything that I possibly could, all in one day, every day. So I realized, okay, I can make $15,000 a month at a very early age. But I was like, fuck, I need to make 30 to actually like have any
live the way I want to live, right?
Yeah, to have any fucking money at all. And you know, it's just like one of those things where if I can always get the money for drugs, why can't I change the way that I'm addicted to something, which took me 2 years in fucking therapy to realize. But why can't I change my perspective on what I want to do with my addiction? Because at the end of the day, I'm always going to be an addict.
Oh, well, right.
It's in my DNA. So I can either piss and moan at the fact that I'm an addict, or I can change my perspective. You have a gift, and that gift is being obsessed with certain things. And if you can tweak it just a little bit, you can change it from, okay, I love cocaine to I love business. I love being with my kids. I get the same dopamine rush in my brain listening to my kids laugh that I used to get snorting blow. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
To me, it makes me a million times more happy, but the chemical reaction in your brain is what you're trying to achieve. So I used to, and this is fucking weird, but like that dopamine rush happens, I think, with fear as well. And I'm like afraid of heights. So
happens with all kinds of stuff.
So I would go rock climbing because I'm afraid of heights, just to get that feeling of my heart pumping all on its own. That's how I really started to get out of, fucking with drugs hardcore. Is like, I would go put myself in the most uncomfortable positions. I made a list of like all my fears, and then I would just go tackle them one by one.
Yeah, that's awesome. And that's kind of along the lines of what happened. And we've talked about this before, flying into the asteroid field, dude. It's a goofy, it's a nerdy analogy, but it's so true, dude. Like, there were situations in my life where I wanted drastic, radical change. Sean Whalen talks about this. I learned this way later, or confirmed this later, that I wasn't the only person that thought like this. When I saw Sean speak for the first time at an event in Phoenix, and he was like, dude, it sounds simple, but it's not. Radical change takes radical change.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And so when you write it down and you look at it, like I got a little board over here. If I wrote that down, I'd be like, hey, yeah, well, what is this, 4th grade? Well, the word radical is an extreme amount of whatever you're talking about. Radical change means you have to get yourself in a radical situation to be able to get those results. Correct. So leaving the big job in Vegas and, losing or having friendships disappear because people stopped believing in me because I got into a bad place. But really what those things were developing me to grow into leaving that area again anyway. When I left Vegas and came home to St. Louis, I found out real quick who my real friends were, is what I'm getting at. And they weren't
for sure. And they
weren't who I thought they were going to be.
Yep.
The gal, gone. This person that was all that friends, gone. This, gone. But who got my back was a fellow musician friend that got me booked for a gig. This person got me this. This person got me that. 6 months later, I was playing at Six Flags and touring the Midwest and doing all these things. That's why I moved back.
Yep.
That's why I moved back, was to pursue that dream of making it out of my hometown. And that's the trajectory that I was on, because those other things disappeared.
Well, Gary talks about this all the time. Sometimes you need to take a step back to take 100 steps forward, basically.
Oh, yeah. Dude. And in those moments, you can feel completely hopeless and broken. Yep. And like the whole world is falling apart. My dad wouldn't let me live back in the house. I mean, extreme circumstance after extreme. Nowhere to live. Lost the girl. Lost a ton of friends. Again, they really kind of are losses, but not really. I lost it to gain.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just like all those things while they were happening, I was like, oh my God, dude. Got a new corporate audio job in St. Louis for a minute because I thought that was the solution, right? Of course, it didn't. You hated it out here, but maybe it'll work here. I hated it, left that job after the second I started getting acoustic gigs. I dropped that shit. So it's like you find yourself almost trying to go back to those toxic things, even though they didn't work anyway, to kind of try and like justify them not failing, or kind of like make them work, force them to go a certain other way that wasn't meant to go the way that you're going, dude. And those things just went a different way. You didn't lose anything. They just went a different direction. You went in the direction you were supposed to go in. It just felt like a pull and a tug because of the way that you analyzed it. Plus, and then years down the line, now I'm in the situation now where I'm doing a lot better. But I remember a few years later, You know, a lot of my friends in St. Louis were married and driving S series or whatever, Mercedes, and working at the mortgage company. And I'm still eating shit in the corner of the bar, building content, making funny videos. And people are like, what is this motherfucker doing? What is he trying to accomplish? That is what I was called to do. You know, and then once years and years and years go by, and again, the weird thing is I can see all this stuff in the memory tab now. It's all documented. So it's weird almost to go back and look at it. But it for a minute, I was like sad and hurt, and it felt bad about myself and this and that. And I'm like, dude, fuck that. You stuck to your guns, and your whole life you did exactly what you said you were going to do since you were 15 years old, while a lot of other people didn't. They gave up on their dream. They gave up on where they really wanted to go. They settled for the hometown marriage and the job at the mortgage company. And that's great for some people, but that's not what I wanted. We've talked about the bubble before.
Yep. Dude,
the bubble didn't work for me, dude. It was just like freaking claustrophobia.
It's funny that you talk about this. Like my parents, even after like everything, like they still were like, why don't you just go get like a job from someone?
When are you going to get a real job? I love that one.
I never. So actually that's not true. I did. I got a real job one time after I was 18. I had a real job before that. I was 15 until I was 18, until I went to school. And then I worked for my dad's landscape. Like he was a builder, and I did landscaping and picked up trash, and I did all the grunt work, shit work that no one else wanted to do, and got paid shit for it. Rightfully so. My dad was like, hey, you're going to college. I'm basically going to teach you a lesson. Like, this is, you need to go get an education, or this is what you'll be doing for the rest of your life. Mm-hmm. There wasn't like, it was very binary. It was very binary to him, right? It was like, either you go to college and you're going to be super successful, or you don't, and then you're going to have to work your way up through the ranks. I went to college and then dropped out, and I couldn't do it. Like, I started a concierge service while I was in school, and I hired all of my friends to go pick up like dry cleaning and all this shit for like all these other people, because my dad had a book of business that I had been working for and building their, like, cleaning up all their stuff. But my dad's the builder, so I got to like meet them and like whatever. So I would ask them if I could mow their lawn, if I could go get their kids from school. How can I make your life easier? Blah, 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 blah. So I started getting all these other people, which was just the fucking neighborhood kids. They were all picking up each other's kids, and they were paying. They didn't. Fucking router reform. So
yeah, it's coming, folks. He's not going to sound like R2-D2 forever,
bro. So anyways, I fucking hired all these kids in school. I had all these people doing each other's work in this affluent neighborhood that like my dad helped build, and I had done work in there. So I had built rapport, and then I did that. But my whole thing was, whenever I was building rapport, we would go to these people's houses for dinner. We would do whatever. I would try to find out what they did. And all of them seemed to own their own companies or be very high up in their companies or whatever it was. And to me, as a kid, it just like clicked in my brain. I was like, I don't ever want to report to someone else. And I just want to do what I want to do with my time. Why can these people build a more expensive home than my dad can afford, and they have more time than he does? How the fuck does that happen? So my brain just like wouldn't stop thinking about that, and it's never stopped thinking about it for the past fucking 15 years. And one of the biggest lessons that I learned from someone, which is why I started hiring all those other kids, is a rule called leveraging I can have 8 employees working 8 hours a day. So I'm effectively getting 64 hours out of the day versus me who can only work 12 or 14 hours in a day or 18 tops in a day and, you know, be able to maintain that sort of thing. So how can you buy more time? That was always the biggest lesson for me. How can you buy time? And once I started to figure out that,
that's a big one.
Then it was game over in my brain.
Yeah, that's a big one. And a lot of our guests will definitely be touching on that subject. We've got some pretty awesome guests coming on. I already did confirm Brad Lee will be on the show soon. And we talked about that too, was how you and I are using, you know, virtual systems to communicate our message and to bring people some value and to really get some experts involved in what we do and offer people solutions too, not in just one area. I think so many times we focus so hard on one area. This is a problem I had. Well, it was all about beating on the guitar because I wanted to prove everybody wrong, right? Which I did. So if you doubted me, sorry for you. But moral of the story was, as the landscape of entertainment started to change, I had to change with the landscape of entertainment. Podcasting is outperforming a lot of other categories. Podcasting to me is very fun. It's very intriguing. It's very creative for me. And it's also challenging because I don't have the guitar anymore. My natural defense against dead space in the time of a recording or in the performance or in the whatever medium you want to call it, conversation, I guess, usually is beaten by, okay, we'll play another song. But when you eliminate that comfort factor of having the guitar as a mechanism of beat the dead space, just play Wagon Wheel, or you get to a certain point, okay, we'll just play some Creedence Clearwater Revival. I mean, I can play those songs on command because if I'm talking too much at the gig or I'm talking too much as a host, I just go into another song, burn 4 minutes. But with this, it's challenging because it's forcing me to, you know, reflect and interpret and listen and challenge certain thought processes I had. Just doing these, this is episode 11, just doing these first 10 episodes have forced me to start thinking and reflecting about things that have happened in my life up until this point and making shifts, because that's what happens when you evaluate and you take a growth perspective and you put yourself out there and put shit on the line, is that you are forcing yourself to gain yardage in areas that may have been dry. I did my own show there for a while, and it wasn't savage like I really am. Because I'm trying to, you know, appeal to the entrepreneur market and all this kind of stuff and, you know, blah, blah, blah. Dude, fuck that. You're either going to watch me or you're not anyway.
Yeah, correct.
And it's just like, am I really, after all these years, going to continue to try and modify what I am to meet this certain expectation that isn't real anyway? So once you start being real, it's going to lose anyway. You go back to, again, our photo, what started this conversation in the first place, photo from 2007 or whatever year it was, 2005. I was modifying myself to try and make a lot of those situations work anyway. Modifying myself to try and make the audio guy, Pat, work with that company. Modifying myself to try and make the boyfriend role work for this relationship. Modifying myself to try and make this friendship group work, man. Fuck that. Once I started being real, that shit disappeared anyway because it wasn't for me.
I have a question for you then.
Yeah.
Did modifying yourself at the time, whenever you didn't have the skill set that you do now, did modifying yourself at that time get you a roof over your head or meals in your belly? Did it help you to learn new skill sets as well? in the process of modifying yourself to make you a more rounded, more well-rounded entertainer, producer, musician, podcast host, all of those things. Did taking those things and modifying your maybe integrity or whatever it was, did taking the things that you didn't want to do, did that make you a better, well-rounded person overall? Or if you had stayed true to yourself and just said, fuck it, I'm going to go balls to the walls from the beginning, because there wasn't Facebook Live, there wasn't IGTV, there wasn't TikTok where there was the same virality. If you didn't do that, would you be where you are today is my question. Like, did that, by modifying yourself, did it speed up
so
your success or slow it down?
It's a good question, but I'm going to have to say it helped because I can't change it now. So I can't change the variables now because they've already played themselves in the game of life and given me the perspective that I have now. So overall, now I'd have to say, yes, it helped because I forced it to help. But I also would say that when I was modifying myself for, again, a certain relationship or a certain job title or certain group status, if I would have just said, fuck all this and gone all in from the get-go, who knows what would have happened? Maybe I would have been a fucking rock star at 23 years old. Instead of trying to do all these things the way everyone else thought that it was best for me, you know what I mean? Maybe I should have just picked up the guitar and been like, fuck you, and bought a speaker system and gone. But then again, if I wouldn't have gone to the school and learned how to run the speaker system and then gone and worked the job and run speaker systems for the biggest people, would I have really had the life experience that I needed to close Grant Cardone on Playing GrowthCon 10 years later? So like, yeah, it totally helped. But if I would have said, fuck it, what would have happened differently? Maybe I had a platinum record at 24 years old and then went broke by 26. I don't know. So the answer is yes, it did help me. But boy, it kind of makes you wonder, oh, well, you were modifying all these parts of your personality, trying to make everything work with everybody, trying to make dad happy, trying to make girly happy, your roommate happy, this group happy, the company happy, and you ended up, all those things eventually disappeared. And then when you ask dad for help, hey man, listen, I was doing everything right, dad, but you know, I don't have anything anymore. Can I sleep in the house again? No, dude. All that stuff happened for a reason. All that stuff developed the Pat that is now showing up on the camera. So yes, it did help me by modifying. But what a question. No one's ever asked me that before. What if I would have just said, fuck it, and gone balls to the wall at like 22 and just quit that job after 3 months? I think, honestly, I wouldn't have been prepared. So if I would have moved straight home after graduating and not gone for the Vegas thing and gone for the music thing, I would have modified myself to a point where I would have potentially married the wrong person, gotten around status quo thinkers back home, and none of this shit would have ever happened because I wouldn't have failed hard enough at a high enough level, or lost or had enough stuff disappear or not go my way to produce the fire that it takes to make it like I have now. So it's a fucking two-way sword. I've never thought about that.
I couldn't.
You know me, I'm pushing.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. So I spoke to, I didn't speak to my wife. We were having an argument over the weekend about something that was like stupid. But
you gotta love arguing with your wife. It's never really anything important, is it?
No, it wasn't.
It's always some dumbass shit, for me at least. Seems like now.
Yeah, like we have 2 kids, and it's usually something fucking stupid. Like you left a can on the thing or whatever. Like it's like,
you asshole.
Yeah, it's like something stupid. But anyways, I said something to her that made her lose her mind temporarily for a second. And I said, it's not my job to control your feelings about the way that I say something or the way that I deliver something or whatever. That's you. I don't care how, if I deliver you something and I say something, I don't care how it makes you feel. Fuck.
You're good.
My job is
feelings don't change facts.
Correct. My job isn't to worry about the way that I say something is going to make you feel. Now, I feel bad that I made you feel a certain way. Yes. It does not change my narrative or my message that I'm delivering to you.
That's
so I'm not sorry
to say to your wife.
I'm sorry for making you feel bad in a way that I did. I am not sorry for doing it. Like the actual action.
Toughen up, Tootsie. Mama B's got her hands full with Big Mike.
No. It's just the actual action of it. Like the way that I deliver something, I can tell you something, like if you did something on air and I didn't like it or whatever it was, producer wise, I would fucking tell you and say, hey, I didn't like that. I would tell you after the show.
Yeah, you're not going to like everything I send you once we're recorded anyway.
For sure. But I'm pretty easygoing for the most part. But if I deliver you a critique on something, it doesn't mean that I don't think that 100 other things that you did were phenomenal. Away from the whole fucking thing. Like a critique on, and that's what some people need to understand is your feelings don't necessarily matter. Like if either of us affected your feelings through any of these fucking shows, I don't care. Like if I hurt your feelings, good. It probably means that I spoke some sort of truth to you and you need to check your own ego or you need to do something to improve an area in your life. If I hurt your feelings, good. Because everyone worries about what their feelings are in their everyday life. We have to tiptoe around the way that we say every fucking thing. I don't. Pat doesn't. Pat's trying more not to.
Yeah, well, and especially when you're an entertainer and you got to get paid, there's certain shit, if you say it, you'll lose the gig forever. So I've had to modify how I present my act 100 different times.
As a realtor, I used to deliver news in a very different way. Like if a buyer missed an offer on something, I would be like, hey guys, you got to come up on the offer, whatever it is. The next highest bid is above it. They'll be like, do we know what the number is? No. Price. Like, here's what it is. Are you still there?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's all good. I mean,
so
that's one of those things. I couldn't do real estate because I'd have to be this whole real estate Pat. That's why I've never even done it. Carlos, I already talked to Carlos about coming on, so I don't mind name dropping him. My buddy Carlos Reyes, big time wholesaler, got like 1 million followers on Instagram, big influencer type dude, helps people make a shitload of money in real estate. We're talking millions of dollars with the systems that he uses. And so it's just funny because he's been like, man, you ever thought about like wholesaling or something? And I'm like, dude, I have thought about it. But I would have to change all these things about my day and my life and what I do. And I'm not sacrificing any of it because I know now from experience in the past that it doesn't work for me. I don't want the money that bad to give up who I am anymore. Fuck that.
Yep.
Keep the 100K. I'll make it anyway. I will make it anyway.
Yep. And
so that's a dangerous question you asked me earlier. If I would have said, I'm going to fucking make it anyway, and gone and done what I'm doing now back then, who knows what would have happened? Because I ended up doing that anyway, X amount of years later. But like, I wonder if the curve would have been shaved, but I think that I would have modified myself to a point where I would have done what I described earlier, gotten myself in a situation to where I maybe was convinced by the people I was already around that something else was better for me and that this is safer. Maybe.
However, the other side of the pendulum swings this way. You were early enough where you could have been one of the biggest Facebook performers ever.
Maybe. You never know.
You could have been a news broadcaster like Joe Rogan had you started adapting early on with podcasts, and then following that sort of, like, once you saw Joe Rogan taking off, if you had just said, okay, I know how to stream, I can connect with people. What if I just talk to them every single time and build a YouTube page, and I just focus on YouTube for the next 10 years?
Well, and that goes back to the other side of the question, which is the reality of the answer. The reality of the answer is that might still happen anyway. Because I still, at the end of the day, said fuck it and went for it anyway. So we might come to the same conclusion no matter what. You know what I mean?
Undoubtedly. I'm just asking you. Like,
it's a great question.
Devil's advocate.
Yeah.
I ask myself this shit all the time. If I had gotten into e-com and gotten linked up with my supplier back in the day, whenever like Nutro was like one of the biggest things, and they were setting up merchant processing accounts for people only. They didn't even have a manufacturing business at that time. They were literally just doing merchant processing accounts. And then they got their way into all these other facets. I'll bring Todd on. He's a fascinating fucking human. Like, but Todd and Gary, we'll bring both of them on here. But holy fuck, dude. Like, if I had gotten in and been in with them, because they were also
it's so hard though, because you know so much more now. So it's hard to draw that line.
Correct. I would easily, and I am not exaggerating you, if I had, because they were in Pittsburgh too, that's where they lived, and we were here at the same time. If I had connected with them 10 years earlier in life.
It didn't happen though.
It didn't. Right. But I think about it. And
yeah, man. See, I could drive myself wild with this one.
Here's actually like a truth. These are CIA documents that have been released. Like, asking the universe for something, even though you don't know what it is exactly, but like trying to be as specific with manifesting exactly what you want every single day is the surest way for it to come true. That much, well, if there's any,
and that's what I do when I call you at 5 a.m. is it's just like, listen, and that's the answer to the question is this was meant to go this way. So I'm going to answer it with no, it wouldn't have worked.
Okay, there you go.
If I would have gone that route and gone home and gone with that group of friends and gone with the gal and gone with this would not be fucking happening today. Because if that was supposed to be the way it went, that's how it would have went. Right? But I asked the universe for this. And that's why 13 years later, this is what I'm doing. I'm still chasing that road. I'm still on that path. Those situations did not defeat me because I still haven't quit. I'm still winning. I'm still putting out music and getting paid for it. I'm still putting out shows. I'm still monetizing my knowledge. So this is how it was supposed to go. We could be the biggest fucking show on the planet in 6 months.
Yeah, dude,
you never know.
I'm manifesting.
We could be
kicking
your ass in 6 months, Joe Rogan. We could be kicking your ass.
Bro, I'm manifesting right now that we have 20,000 people that are actively following either podcast or video in the next 6 months.
It'd be great. We'd change those people's lives. We'd give them perspective and situations they'd never hear about. And that's the whole point of me bringing up the perspective and reflection thing. All that shit had to happen. That's why, well, now that I think about it, no one's ever asked me that. Now that I think about it, no, it wouldn't have worked. It wouldn't have worked any other way than the way that the man upstairs chose. Whatever you believe in, if you're a God guy or Bible beater, if you're an atheist, whatever, there is some kind of universal plan for you, the way that your DNA was created. I had to go through that shit to be able to teach people and impact people on what they've got to go through, because there's somebody, I never had any help through those years. I had to do it all on instinct.
Yep.
And now I'm here. I could skyrocket somebody's results on digital in 3 months because they know somebody that knows how to do this, and this. Call your social media manager or whoever you're talking to and ask them if they've played the biggest business conference on the fucking planet. The answer 99.9% of the time is no.
Well, bro, okay. So let's talk about this for perspective. If it wasn't for, and this goes back crazy, if it wasn't for
Mike's playing psychological warfare today.
Me moving to Pittsburgh, it happened at 13. One of the very first people that I met at my new school was my wife. She was quite literally one of the only people that was like nice to me because
Mama B.
But she just thought that I was funny because I would roast kids in like the lunchroom and shit, and I would I would eat and like I would just crack jokes and make fun of people as soon as they made fun of me.
A little crush on Big Mike.
Yeah, dude. As soon as they made fun of me, I was all about like fucking them up, basically. Like I was just like done. So make fun of me for being poor. They make fun of being like from used to live in a trailer. Like they would make fun of me for all this like shit. Anyways, by me making fun of all of these kids, eventually like they realized that like I didn't discriminate on who the fuck I made fun of. Like I would just roast anyone. And long story short, like she became my best friend. She went to a different high school, and then we didn't like see each other so much. We both went to college, dated other people. By some weird luck, I'm on a date with a different girl, and I see her on the Jumbotron, and I text her out of the blue. She's still the same number. And I told the girl next to me, I said, I'm going to marry this chick, and this shit's done. And she cried through the whole first fucking period. I just sat there drinking beer at this hockey game. And
you were with?
Yeah.
The girl that you were with?
I stayed through the whole fucking game. And
savage.
I knew what I wanted. And fast forward, we were married, blah, blah, blah. My credit and identity got hacked. I got fucked. So I couldn't do anything. She fucking supported me through the whole fucking thing, made sure that like I had everything that I needed. Anytime that like I tried a business and failed, she would be like, it's all right. We got this. Next, think of something different. And it was just that I never had that sort of like encouraging behavior from someone that just like so fully believed in me, even whenever like I brought myself before we were married almost to bankruptcy twice. But like she just always was like, go all in on everything that you do, because like you only get one shot at this and one of these will work. Like you're going to learn something from this. And, you know, and that's how I always did.
Yeah, that's dope. See, and that's probably why, again, like, back to the other thing, the people that I was around, that were in my friendship circle at those times that I've been referring to, they didn't talk to me like that. They weren't like, dude, fucking fuck this shit that you're doing, dude. You need to go be the freaking acoustic force.
Yeah. Or PatHiltonLive.com.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah. And it's just like, that was developed over time and over, putting my feet in the mud and trudging through shit to get gigs and traveling all over the country and sleeping on people's floors. I mean, dude, I've been willing to do shit any normal person wouldn't do to get to a point where I can do what I want forever. But it meant having no money, and it meant watching everybody else be the family white picket fence success. And look at that and see that and look at my life and be like, I mean, you got a bag of clothes and a guitar and a gig, and this is what you asked for, and a floor to sleep on with a sleeping bag. This is what you wanted, dude. This is the dues that you have to pay. I remember specifically in like 08 or like 09, because I actually, it's funny. We were talking about how long I worked that job in Vegas. I don't even think it was as long as I thought it was. I think it all happened way quicker.
Mm-hmm.
Boom, 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 boom. Because I was looking back, I saw some video 07 playing in Six Flags. That means I only had that job for like a year and a half, not 3 or 4 years. Felt like a lifetime. But yeah. I remember specifically waking up in the middle of the night at sleep. I used to sleep on my buddy's floor down off of Kings Highway in South City, St. Louis. Alan Griffin was my buddy's name. His brother, Brad Griffin, played bass at my gigs, at my band gigs. And he lived across the hall from Alan. And I remember I used to sleep on the floor in Alan's apartment. He didn't even have any furniture because we always hung out in Brad's apartment across the hall. No furniture, like a couple little stools, and I'd sleep on the big floor. It was like a little bit of a trash bin. And this fucking cockroach was climbing on me in like the middle of the night. I didn't even know what it was. I like woke up the next morning and there were like some roaches and shit on the floor. And I was like, man, and I mean, we cleaned the place up and like sprayed or whatever. Like, it's all good. But I remember years and years and years later, when I was living in San Diego and I was willing to sleep on a floor there to get a nice place there. I mean, eventually I had a nice place in St. Louis years later, but I was willing to sleep on a cockroach floor to get that.
Mm-hmm.
When other people, like I said, were working at the mortgage company with daddy making 6 figures, or people that I used to hang out with and taking pictures of their wedding and their brand new car and their new home and their white picket fence, I'm sleeping on the floor with roaches.
Yep.
Because this is what I asked for.
Well,
and I remember, and I'll finish it up. I know I ramble sometimes, but I'm sleeping on the floor. My friend Jane, who was the bartender at the wine bar that I got engaged to my wife, Megan, at in Coronado, California. I remember I was sleeping on her floor before Megan moved to San Diego. I got engaged at that wine bar too, while Jane was bartending. She's one of my best friends now. And I remember calling Megan and being like, hey, I think I'm going to crash on this girl's floor for a while. Cause it's either that or sleeping in the van. I don't mind living in the van, but her floor, this place in Coronado was like the fucking Ritz-Carlton compared to Alan Griffin's roach-infested place. I'm like, she's like, are you sure you want to sleep on the floor? I'm like, dude, you don't even know what I've had to deal with, Jane. I'm so thankful for you letting me sleep on your floor. And she's like, okay, like I'm going to go in here with like my guy, but like if you're okay, then fine. Like she probably thought it was weird how excited I was about her floor.
Yeah, she probably thought you were banging.
But yeah, well, Jane had a dude, but she thought it was weird how excited I was about sleeping on her floor. The idea of this amazing place for me to call my home for the evening. And it was just interesting, again, perspective. While most people would be like, dude, you don't even have your life together. That floor in Coronado making it work so that I could propose to Megan and get my own apartment. That was part of the dream, dude. And I was willing to have nothing at that moment in time to have everything now. We're married. We have kids. I had a full studio. Like, again, all that stuff. When I look back on that now, I'm like, well, that's what I needed to do to get comfortable with what does my journey really look like. My journey wasn't the picket fence contractor. I wasn't ready to provide for anyone, even myself, during those years of my life. So, of course, I'm not a safe bet. Like we were talking about, some other gal's dad ripped on me, told me I was a bonehead. And, you know, I don't know that he was 100% wrong. We were talking about that too, because I couldn't even provide for myself.
So
now that I'm a parent, I kind of see it now. He's still a fucking asshole and he can kiss my ass, but
sure.
You know what I mean?
Sure. The whole thing.
It's interesting, like I said, looking at all of this from a different angle, because a lot of it's documented. I post my whole life on the internet. If you guys want to go find out my whole life, you can probably go on Instagram or Facebook and find it all.
Yeah. I don't. But what I was going to say was, like, the whole thing that like led me into e-com, going all the way back to the first friend that I had whenever I got here. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
So going all the way back to that, just whenever like my parents were like starting to lose faith in me for that, Alyssa's parents I got to see like a whole different perspective from the way that things work financially in like a different structure. And it was Alyssa's dad that, like, whenever I came to him with the idea for this, he was like, "Oh, fuck yeah, I'm in." And it was because because he saw how many times, I just always am willing to get back up and go the extra round. Doesn't matter. So if you're going to invest your money into someone, it better be someone that's willing to take the punches on the chin and learn from them and get back up and then try it again. Like, I would rather invest my money into someone that's tried and failed 100 fucking times.
Yeah. What does your track record look like? And that was something I've talked about too, is I gotta
pee.
Go do your thing. But that was part of my self-narrative that I struggled with for a long time, is that I used to look at things that happened in the past, like a boxing record, and tell myself, oh, that was a loss and that was a loss. Hey, you won here and that was a loss. When really it's not even that black and white. It's actually more complex than that, because certain things that felt like one thing actually turned out to be something completely different. Sometimes you feel like you're off track and you turn around the corner and there's everything you asked for because you stuck to the path. So, and that changes everything that happened up until that point of turning the corner. So I'm a visual person, so I see all these things that can be hard for someone else to see inside my brain. But like I've talked about, is when you are called to do something, or you have been, and maybe not everybody's like this, but when you are called to do something, that's what you have to do. So like I was saying when you were gone, it's like I used to look at it as black and white. Yeah, black and white, like a win-loss record. Because like I said, I'm a huge boxing fan, and you'll hear a lot of that. I know, like, all these Muhammad Ali and Mike Tyson stats. I went on a Mike Tyson Buster Douglas rant one day on this show. But it's because it's one-on-one. At the end of the day, your success is you versus you. Mm-hmm. When you put your happiness or your success in someone else's hands, you are not dictating the results. When you take ownership and responsibility of your actions and your trajectory and say, this is what I'm doing, this is what I want, the sooner you do that, and take responsibility for everything, the sooner you're going to get to your result. So maybe that would be the lesson that I would tell myself from back in the day. You can't teach the knowledge without you can't teach knowledge without mileage, which is kind of what you said. I can't teach you all these things if I haven't done it. Like I said, I think it'd be interesting if somebody went on my page and looked at it from an outside perspective and scrolled all the way through to 2007 and saw me playing in the corner of some bar or jumping around at Six Flags with a band playing for free. We played that gig for free for exposure so we could book other jobs that paid. Like, that was a long time ago, but I already had a ton of experience. But I was willing to grow myself and to grow in other areas. How willing are you? How available are you for that success? We've talked about that a little bit. All of this shit, if you can get around someone that has the mileage, has put in the time, and that has the knowledge to help you avoid those 13 years, like I guarantee you I could help somebody who's trying to do something similar to what I'm doing avoid 13, 15, 20 years of pitfalls. Since I got out of high school, if I would have just said, I'm going to be a freaking acoustic singer-songwriter and a live streamer and an entertainer, who knows what would have happened? I don't know. That's not what happened. I tried to do the school thing and all these different ways to like be professional with it. And now I'm just like, fuck it. But the landscape also changed through that time anyway. So the landscape kind of adapted to my natural style to where now we're coming out with this in a time where digital communication is thriving. I might get the same result anyway. Yeah, we could be the biggest motherfucking thing in no time. If I'm not taking the action to get there, how am I going to get the result? Sitting on my ass today not doing a stream isn't going to help.
For sure. For sure. Like, one thing that like I talk shit on and I regret a lot is the fact that like I went to school first. Like I should have never went to school, right? Had I not gone to school, gotten someone pregnant, gotten addicted to drugs, then literally forced to go back to a shitty fucking school, and then because I went to school to appease my parents.
You make my story sound like American Idol.
Like, literally had all of those things not happened in the sequences that they did. And had I not met my wife whenever I did beforehand, or had I not literally been sitting down in the seats that I were sitting in, like, all of those things are like, it's so fucking weird. But if you can just trust your gut on things and actually, if you know what like in your heart is right to do, like making that girl feel bad and cry next to me didn't feel super great. It's a great story now, although I sound like
hilarious.
I sound like an asshole. But no, she's a sweet girl.
I know, I'm just being an asshole. An asshole. But that's, you had to sacrifice that.
But I was like, nah, like, you're out. Like, it's done.
Sorry, babe.
And the worst part was I had just come back from like rehab and all of this other shit, and I didn't have a car. I had to drive her car to the fucking Penguins game, and I think she was the one that got the tickets, and it was her first Penguins game.
That hurts.
I don't think that
she probably hates the Pittsburgh Penguins now.
It's amazing. But yeah. So honestly, but like, I didn't care about her feelings then either. And shit worked out that way in the universe for me later on. Just like whenever I had the fight with my wife earlier this weekend, I don't care so much about the way that something makes you feel, as long as I am delivering you a statement of truth or whatever it is that needs to be heard, in my opinion, and I'm living my truthful life. Like, as long as I do that, then I don't care.
Yeah. And you know what, the more
they may.
The more you pursue that mindset and the more you activate yourself on that, the more successful you're going to be. Like we've been talking about, like I've been going.
I love her so much. Like I would be nowhere without her. Truly.
Yeah, well, I'm in the same book too. Yeah,
I love my wife so much. Like,
yeah, and none of these things I do now would have happened either without that happening to me, without all those things fading away and not showing up for me when I was begging for them to be there, brought other things into my life that have now projected me into successful roles in areas that I wasn't thriving in prior. So it's important to remember to listen to that calling, man. The sooner you listen to that calling and the sooner you go for it. And it's hard, man, because anytime you follow that, you're gonna go through some rough waters, but there is a beautiful oasis on the end of that. I'm telling you, there is. I've seen it. I've dealt with it. I've put in the years. Like I said, there is no knowledge without mileage. And so that's why we might rip on some gurus and stuff, but the people that will be on this show, they put in the mileage. That's why they got the brains to show for all the lessons. Yep. But you don't have to learn it the hard way.
No doubt.
There are shortcuts.
Well, dude, you can join Lions Not Sheep. You can join Brad Lee's sales training program.
School. Yeah, it's great programs.
Yeah, dude, you can join fucking Tony Robbins. You can join, and I'm manifesting Tony coming on this show. I know
a lot of this stuff didn't even exist back then, or I didn't even know about it. Like if some acoustic force man that played all these business conferences and did all these shows and all these songs for these freaking famous entertainers and entrepreneurs was around back then and I knew about it, my gosh. But it wasn't, no one had ever done it. I created that role. Nobody had ever done it. So you got to also think, well, shoot, it still happened the way it needed to happen because I got to a point where I'm like, I have to do this for me. And whatever supports me is going to support me. And whatever disappears is going to disappear. And I can't control those variables. And as much as I tried to control those variables, they went the way that they needed to go anyway. And it was mostly the other way, not my way.
That's exactly what I was going to say, dude, was how weird is it to think, I think you're what, 5 years older than me? You're 35?
37.
37? Okay. So you're 7 years older than me. I wasn't born for 7 years while you were fucking around, like doing whatever the fuck you were doing on Earth at that time. And then
I was probably kicking soccer balls by the time Big Mike came out.
Bro, and then you are on Facebook and I see you through, I think you messaged me. We should trace our messages back to the beginning and let them know the next time.
Can.
But one of us messaged each other from way back. It was either whenever I started a men's reading group, which was called Power of Man. And it was just so that way dudes could, and it turned into like this thing. And then you, I hope, leveraged that for a bunch of business. Because I was there. And that was long before I could even afford to pay you.
Yeah, I'm trying to pull it up, but it's
like we've always been supporting each other,
cutting our bandwidth. Yeah, we have been because we had similar goals. We're trying to put stuff out online and all that kind of stuff, and it's one of these things where you got to roll the dice, man. You got to roll the dice. And no matter what situation you're in, there's no safe way to roll the dice. You might think this is the safe way. I'm comfortable here, so it's going to work out better. But at the end of the day, you're still rolling the dice, and the dice will fall where they choose to fall. You are not in charge of that. You are only in charge of following the path that you choose once the dice have been rolled. Now, you have a lot of control over what you choose, but stuff is going to happen in your life. Things that you don't like are going to happen. People that you like at one point are going to do things you don't like at another point and potentially disappear at another point.
Yep.
How you react and how you control where you go from there. I mean, are you going to throw away your whole life because of some of this shit? You can't.
No.
You can't.
It's weird because
it was probably a roadblock in the first place is the lesson. It was probably a roadblock that cleared itself and you're like, oh man, and you're so used to the toxicity or you're so used to the friction that you don't even know how to handle a clear lane when your ass should have been taken off and running right away.
Well, step one, I think that anyone can take, and I believe that we've said it before, but it needs to be reiterated. Step one, unfollow and unfriend request any person online that is not either, it doesn't matter if they're friends, it doesn't matter if they're family, you're going to get shit for it no matter what. But if they post shit that you don't want to see or that is harmful or they
brings you down, right?
Whatever. If it fucks with your overall energy of the day, eliminate it. Done. It's not hard. And they may message you. I've had people message me after I delete them or block them on Facebook because I went through a whole phase where I just blocked everyone. I didn't give a fuck. Like, I don't ever want to talk to you ever again. I'm done. And my life has been so much better because I surround myself with people that are also doing stuff. I don't post all the time. I'm never going to post a shit ton on my Instagram. That's why
I'm a social hoe. You guys can hit me up. I'm a social hoe. I'll be running all kinds of badass shit on our pages. Anybody who's responding to you, it's probably me.
But that's why correct. You are the person that enjoys that type of thing. I go on social media and I see something and I'll post it or I'll share it or whatever it may be. And it could be so
Mike likes to share
random.
Memes that'll piss you guys off too.
Yeah, probably. Maybe. But they're my viewpoints probably. So
you guys will like
I think I posted a meme today that said that if you're not posting 3 or 4 or pissing off 3 or 4 people a day, those are rookie numbers. You need to bump those up.
That's another thing right back to it. That's so true and this is something I was reflecting on at the beginning of the day for the last few days with this topic that's been running through my head. I'm so glad we covered it because I'm finally putting a nail in its coffin. But I post stuff now that makes me have the best time. And while it may turn some people off, who cares, dude? They were never going to buy my shit anyway.
Yep.
So I don't stop modifying yourself for people
that are not necessarily buy, but they're not even going to listen to the stuff that you have to say.
Who cares what they think anyway?
They have no, if someone's going to change on you or is upset with something, I'm not even registered as a Republican. I'm certainly voting for Trump because Biden can't speak. But
you cut out for a minute, but you were you cut out for a minute, but you were like, I'm certainly voting for Trump because Biden can't speak. It was like, I'm certainly voting for Trump.
Oh, for sure. I am. So I don't care. I'm voting for him because he aligns more with the personal values that I have. However, I'm adult enough to respect if you want to vote for Biden, go ahead. Great. I don't care.
I don't care. This is something that has, this is something that's really, this is something that's really been touchy for me lately is this whole, I can't be friends with you or something if you're voting for Donald Trump or Joe Biden. I don't give a fuck who you vote for. I don't care. It doesn't make me angry. I make fun of all of those guys. I make fun of Pelosi. I make fun of Trump. I make fun of Joe Biden. I made 2 skits. Donald Trump kicks me out of the Zoom call on the comedy skits. So, yeah, I mean, who cares? People get so angry about that stuff. There's a perspective lesson for you guys. Quit getting mad at what somebody else thinks because you don't agree with it. Who cares? There's probably 99 other things you guys could agree on. But now, again, back to this other thing, you're hyper-focusing on the one bad thing instead of the 99 other awesome things.
Yep.
Scrolling through and you focus on the one bad thing rather than the 700 wins. Come on. Of course you're going to be negative.
So here, let's really put a nail in the coffin of like, I give a fuck what people think. I promised my goddaughter, my youngest goddaughter, that I would buy her a car this year. Her parents, well, one of them, is certainly not a Trump fan by any means. However,
a lot of people aren't.
I love them so much, and I don't care because I'm not tied to some fucking... My identity as a person is not tied to who I'm going to vote for in the election. And I think most people try to tie their identities to that, and they can't separate ideology from their identity. And you be able to have perspective on the fact that you don't have to agree with every single human being on the planet. You can be respectful of someone just because they have a different viewpoint. Also, they may provide an insight that is super beneficial to your life. They may change the way that you think about something. Layla, I'll name drop her because she won't care. I know that for a fact. But Layla is one of the people that takes care of my kids, like during this show. Super fucking liberal, vegan, the exact opposite identity of myself. Like, it is almost bipolar that I would she just walked in. Like, it is almost bipolar that I would choose this person to look after my children. However, I also acknowledge I don't need you to clean in here right now. I'm on a podcast.
But like her personal choices.
I love you so much.
Her personal choices don't dictate what you think about her character.
Correct. I love Layla because Layla comes in here while I'm on a fucking podcast and thinks that it's an ideal time to clean.
Right. Yeah. That's just good old fashioned American spirit right there.
Like, she's probably listening to me right now being like, this is why, like, I have no problem coming here. I don't care. I'm not going to be mean to her, but I'm like, Layla, get the fuck out of here. This is not the time. Now, if she were super sensitive, I'm not going to worry about her feelings anyways. They're not my feelings.
Well, yeah, who cares? So I'll come back in an hour. This is the thing with people is that this sugar-coated idea that we're supposed to sugarcoat and modify everything for people's feelings these days, it doesn't work anyway. So it's gotta go away. That's why we started this show. That's why other shows I've done in the past kind of came and went too, because they weren't real enough. They weren't to the point enough. They weren't trying so hard to be too politically correct instead of making the real points that it's just kind of like, there's no need for it anymore. Where's the growth in that?
Yeah, 100%.
So it's a beautiful thing, everyone. Reflect. Get some perspective, realize that some of the things that you're looking at, maybe you're getting down on yourself for from the past, that you might be considering losses, are actually wins, things that happen to project you in the right direction. If the opponent steals the ball at the 3-minute mark of the first period, you might have lost the puck, but it maneuvered in a way to where it created some other situation where you scored and won the game. You've got to start looking at it like that.
Yeah.
Because or you'll drive yourself nuts too. We don't want that. But anyway, we love you guys. The Business and Buds show. Share it. Subscribe to it. I mean, by this point, by the time we release, we're gonna have 8 million episodes, and we'll see you all next time.